At an institution known as the school, young people are used in mysterious experiments to alter their genetic code. The goal is to make them all grow wings, but most of the victims suffer from side effects. Research progressed rapidly, but a man named Jeb put an end to all that cruelty. One night, he rescues the young people from the complex, including a little girl named Max, who is considered one of the most special in the project. Jeb then takes her to his van, along with other young people from the institution, including Max's best friend named Fong. With everyone in the car, the man speeds away, but he leaves behind his own son, young Ari, who screams for his father's help. However, the man simply ignores him and drives away to an unknown location. Years pass and Max, now a teenager, is running away through a dark forest. She runs as fast as she can to lose her pursuers when she comes across a huge cliff. Without hesitation, the girl jumps off the edge of the mountain, but soon after, she wakes up in her bed and realizes that it was all just a dream. Getting up, she checks her things and finds knife on the table, a gift from Jeb. Since she was rescued, Max has been raised in a house in the middle of the forest to be the leader of the group of survivors in case Jeb is not around. Unfortunately, her mentor has mysteriously disappeared, and Max does her best to protect her family, whom she has named the gang. As soon as she finishes tidying up the room, the girl goes to the bathroom, but ends up bumping into Fong. Although she tries to hide it, the girl has feelings for her friend, but prefers to keep everything a secret. After changing her clothes, Max goes to talk to the rest of the gang. They all have wings, but throughout the experiments, each one has awakened some kind of special combat ability. However, this condition makes it impossible for them to have a normal life. So, Max does her best to keep everyone hidden. Despite his efforts, Iggy warns the girl that their supplies will only last another 6 months, and they need to do something. Iggy then suggests moving out of that house and going to the city, where they can ask other people for help. The group supports the idea, especially Nudge, who is tired of being stuck in that house and wants to make new friends. However, Max does not want to take any risks and tells Nudge to stay in the house, as the world outside is much more dangerous than she thinks. The argument continues until Max sees Gazzy assembling a weapon that looks like some kind of bomb. She gets angry and tells him to stop because he could end up destroying the whole house. After being scolded, Nudge and Gazzy go to their rooms, leaving Angel alone. The girl has the ability to read minds, and as soon as Max, Iggy, and Fong leave the room, she hears strange voices coming from the forest. Angel decides to take a look outside, but is captured by 2 unknown men. Minutes later, Gazzy realizes that his sister is not at home and asks Max for help, with the whole group going after Angel. They search around the house, but there is no sign of the girl anywhere. Max orders everyone to wait inside, and then spreads her wings and flies at full speed into the forest. Shortly after, she finds the 2 men carrying Angel, and in a swift attack, Max flies towards them and knocks them down with a kick. However, just as she is about to take Angel back, she receives a surprise blow from none other than Ari, Jeb's son. After being abandoned by his father, the young man became an eliminator, a soldier sent by the school to capture fugitive test subjects. The experiments made him stronger, and with just one blow, he knocks Max unconscious and orders his henchmen to take Angel. Still unconscious, Max remembers moments from the past when she was being held captive at the school. While drawing some pictures, she receives a visit from Ari, and the 2 soon become great friends. However, Jeb insisted that his son stay away from her, as the girl was one of the most special test subjects in the facility. After this memory, Max is awakened by Fong and the rest of the group, who ask where Angel is, but the leader says that the girl was taken by Ari and his henchmen. Max suspects that they are going to the school, and Gazzy asks them to go there and save his sister. Although she doesn't remember where it is, Max returns home and searches through Jeb's files until she finds a map with the location of the school. Now that they know where they need to go, Max asks Fong for help with the rescue, while Izzy must stay behind to look after the children. Gazzy doesn't want to be left behind, but the leader insists that their safety is a priority and promises to bring Angel back at any cost. With everything ready, Max and Fong say goodbye and fly towards the school, hoping to find Angel. Hours pass and neither of them returns, so Nudge takes the chance to check the files on Jeb's computer. Gazzy also takes a look, and the 2 find confidential school files with information about their families. Upon seeing this, Nudge and Gazzy are surprised, as they believe they were test tube babies, but in fact, they are children who were taken from their parents. The 2 continue to check their files when suddenly Iggy hears a voice nearby. He asks who is there, and to his surprise, he comes face to face with Ari, who demands to know where Max is. Iggy refuses to talk and advances toward the man, but Ari is stronger and knocks him to the ground without difficulty. Hearing the noise of the fight in the room, Gazzy and Nudge rush to help their friend, with the girl jumping over the villain and attacking him. Despite their efforts, Ari resists and throws Nudge against the wall, knocking her unconscious. Gazi then hides under the furniture and begins to assemble one of his bombs, but Ari finds him through the glass table and tries to strike the boy. Luckily, Gazi manages to dodge in time and throws the explosive at Ari. With the bomb about to detonate, Iggy spreads his wings and carries the boys away from the house, with the three narrowly escaping the blast radius. The trio is safe, but the house has been completely destroyed, and all that remains is for them to search for Max and Fong. What none of them suspect is that Ari appears from under the rubble, having survived the explosion. Meanwhile, at the school, Angel is taken to a room and subjected to experiments with electrical stimuli. Despite the intense pain, the scientists decided it's best to increase the voltage, as they need to collect more data on the girl's abilities. However, the leader of the scientists, who remains unknown, says that enough is enough and orders them to stop the experiment for now. Far away, Max and Fong manage to cross the forest and reach the city, but night is approaching and they need to stop and eat something. The two then land on top of a building, but at that very moment, Max hears a girl screaming for help. Fong thinks it's best to ignore it, as they can't draw attention to themselves and need to focus on the mission to save Angel. Max agrees, but she soon changes her mind and sets out to save the young woman, who is being attacked by her ex-boyfriend. The guy tries to grab the girl, but Max interferes in the fight and pushes the man away with her attacks. The guy gets angry and advances toward the girl, but Max is more agile and dodges his blows, fighting back with quick punches. This only makes the man even more angry, and he jumps on the truck bed, where he grabs his hunting rifle. Without thinking twice, he shoots Max, who is hit in the shoulder and falls unconscious to the ground. Fortunately, Fong appears with his wings, and seeing his friend in danger, he throws the guy with all his strength, smashing his head against the truck window. The fight is over, but Max is seriously injured, and Fong can't take her to a hospital. He doesn't know what to do, but the young woman who was saved by Max introduces herself as Ella and offers to help, saying that her mother is a doctor. She then takes them both to her house, and once there, Fong puts the young woman on a bed and begins to bandage her shoulder. Shortly after, Ella returns with her mother, who asks what is going on, but there is no time to waste and she asks the doctor to save Max. The girl's mother obeys and begins to dress Max's wound, who remains unconscious. Meanwhile, she dreams again of memories from the past when she was being taken by a team of doctors to a laboratory. However, Max tries to resist and demonstrate superhuman strength, managing to push away the nurses who try to hold her down. Despite this, the team restrains her on the stretcher and sedates her, promising that the experiments will serve a greater good. The next morning, Max wakes up in Ella's bed, and the girl invites her to breakfast. Arriving in the kitchen, the doctor offers her some of her daughter's clothes and promises to help Max recover from her injuries. For the first time in a long time, the young woman has contact with people other than the gang and realizes that not everyone wants to harm her. After changing her clothes, Max is examined by Ella's mother, who is surprised to see how quickly her shoulder has recovered. In addition, she takes an X-ray of the girl, and the radiograph shows that inside Max is a type of tracker. Finally, the doctor also sees a different bone structure, as if there were retractable bones in her back, in the same region where her scars are located. Max decides to keep her wings a secret, and the doctor accepts her decision, saying she can stay at her house for as long as necessary. Meanwhile, Iggy, Nudge, and Gazi arrive in town and continue to search for Max, when the girl decides to go to a clothing store. Iggy gets angry about this, and tells Nudge not to stray from the group, as it could be dangerous. The trio then continues their journey, unaware that Ari is watching them from afar. Back at Ella's house, Max goes to her room and makes some cuts in the shirt she received, so she can free her wings. After that, she looks out the window and finds Fong outside, calling her to continue the search for Angel. Even though she doesn't want to leave without saying goodbye, Max takes to the skies alongside Fong, until the two find a cabin in the forest. With night falling, the pair decide to rest inside, but Max notices that something is wrong with her friend. She asks what happened, and Fong scolds her for risking her life just to save a stranger. He says that ordinary people are not yet ready to accept them, and if she continues to take risks, Max could be eliminated. The girl replies that not everyone is the same, and she is willing to sacrifice her life to help those in danger. Fong insists on convincing her not to act this way, as he is afraid of losing her. At that moment, the two grow closer, with Fong finally reciprocating Max's feelings. They are about to kiss, but hear a strange noise coming from outside the cabin, and Max goes out to investigate. Outside, she heads toward the intruder, but realizes it is Iggy, alongside Gazi and Nudge. The three are happy to see their friends again, and tell them about the incident that happened at their house with Ari's invasion. The gang then gathers in the living room to share everything they know with Max revealing the tracker inside her arm. She suspects that everyone inside has one, but Iggy doesn't believe it's possible because otherwise the school agents would have already located them. However, that's not their only problem right now, as Angel is still missing and Ari is hunting Max and the rest of the gang. The leader advises everyone to rest for the rest of the night, as at dawn they will continue the search for Angel. As soon as she falls asleep, Max dreams of the past when she was still trapped in a school cage. Suddenly, Ari appears, but this time the boy treats her like a lab rat, saying she's not even human and challenging her to take the key to the cage. Shortly after, Max wakes up and hears Ari's voice indicating that he is nearby. Instead of running away, the girl goes to the lake in front of the cabin, and as soon as her old friend appears, she challenges him to a fight. Despite having become stronger, Ari begins to be attacked by Max, and she asks why he became an eliminator. However, music. He says that in fact his group is on the right side of history, and in the middle of the fight Ari gets the upper hand and knocks Max to the ground. He then begins to squeeze the girl, but Fong appears with his wings and takes the man away. Ari, however, manages to resist and hits the young man until he lets go, but as soon as he falls to the ground, the villain finds himself surrounded by Max and her friends. Still, Ari is not intimidated and says he also brought help with his henchmen appearing in the forest. Finally, the Eliminator activates a sound wave device which stuns Max and the others, and they are easily captured by Ari and his group. Hours later, the gang wakes up inside the school with everyone locked in cages. In addition, the group finally reunites with Angel, who apologizes to Max for leaving home alone and asks her not to believe his words. The gang leader asks who Angel is talking about, but before the girl can answer, Ari appears and takes Max to meet the lead scientist. As soon as she enters the room, the young woman is surprised to see a very familiar face, and it is then revealed that Jeb is involved in the school's experiments. He tells the girl that the two have a lot to talk about and invites her to sit at the table, leaving a plate of cookies beside it. Max does not accept that Jeb is involved, as she believed that the school's agents had broken into her home and her mentor had sacrificed himself to protect the gang. However, Jeb reveals that it was all part of the institution's experiments, including the group's supposed escape. In fact, he wanted to take the kids to an isolated place where he could teach them how to survive without interference from other people. Years later, Jeb realized they were ready and faked his capture so that Max and the others could become independent. However, their abilities evolved beyond expectations, so he planned Angel's capture to lure Max and the others back to the school. The young woman is hurt to realize that her mentor was behind everything and asks what he intends to do. Jeb simply says that the experiments with the children serve a greater purpose and tries to convince Max to collaborate with the project. Finally, he offers the plate of cookies to the girl, knowing that they are her favorite food. However, when Max looks more closely, she finds a message from Jeb written on the plate saying that she should trust him, as there is much more that has not yet been revealed. The girl then decides to keep up the charade and pushes the plate toward Jeb, saying she refuses to go along with his plans. After the conversation, Ari takes Max back to her cage, but the girl begins to taunt him, saying he became a monster just because he was jealous of the guinea pigs. He wanted to be as special as Max and her friends, but he never succeeded, and that's why he became an eliminator. These words enrage Ari, and the man doesn't notice when Max takes the key from his pocket before returning to her cage. As soon as Ari leaves, Max tells them that she found Jeb, but since the group is being monitored, she keeps up the charade, saying that he is a traitor. In addition, the young woman advises her friends to collaborate with the project, which causes revolt among the whole group. While her friends protest, Max tries to talk telepathically to Angel, asking for her help to escape. Later, Ari goes to watch over the group, and again Max begins to provoke him, saying that he is nothing more than a prisoner of the school. The guy reaches his limit and approaches the cage, threatening to eliminate the girl with his claws. Unfortunately for him, Max opens the door with the access key and knocks the guy to the ground, punching Ari several times. After that, Max passes the card to Fong and asks him to free everyone while she lures the eliminators away. The girl then flees through the complex, with Ari going after her and Fong taking the chance to free his friends. Once everyone is free, the group splits up, with Iggy, Nudge, and Angel heading towards the power system. Once there, they destroy the equipment, causing all the lights in the place to go out. At the same time, Fong and Gazi run towards the laboratory, and the young man collects chemicals to create a bomb. As soon as he finishes assembling the compound, the two go in search of Max, who is running away from Ari and his henchmen through the corridors. The girl tries to lose them and reaches another room in the complex only to discover that there is no way out. Seconds later, Ari and the guards catch up with her, and he demands that Max surrender without resistance. This seems to be the end, but the girl sees her friends appearing in the room, and with a jump she leaps over Ari and the guards. At the same moment, Gazi and Max throws his bomb at them with Ari being hit by the explosion which destroys part of the room. The detonation triggers the complex's security alarm with Jeb going there to see what is happening. As soon as he finds the room, he comes across his son's body on the floor who lost his way due to his father's decisions. Jeb then sees Max and her friends next to a hole in the wall through which they can escape the complex. Jeb tries to reason with them, asking them to stay at the school as the experiments serve a greater purpose. However, Max warns him not to waste time looking for them as the experiment is over. Then, with her wings spread, the girl leaves with her friends far away from the school. At dawn, the group lands on a mountain far from the city, and Max hugs Angel, saying she is relieved that she is okay. Her friends then ask what they are going to do now, but the group leader simply says that they will find the answer together as they always have. Suddenly, Max faints in front of her friends, and several jumbled images begin to appear in her mind. Amid these visions, the girl sees a building in New York containing several secret files, including a report with Max's name on it. Minutes later, the girl wakes up with the help of Fong, who is happy to see her awake. Max then tells them about her dream, and Angel suggests that they go to New York to find this building, as these files may have more information about her true origins. Max agrees with the idea, and so the gang decides to go to New York in search of the truth about her past. Far away at the school, a mysterious woman analyzes the security camera recordings when she sees the moment of Max's escape. She realizes that the girl's response telling Jeb not to look for her was not an order, but a request for him to find them as soon as possible. This confirms her suspicions that the scientist had been helping the kids from the beginning, and the project leader sends her men after Max and her gang. Whether they made it to New York or were captured by the school remains uncertain. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.